understand measure for measure. It doesn't sound as attractive. It's not as alluring to mass marketing. But it's far more lethal. If you appreciate the law of attraction from the perspective of measure for measure, then you zero in a much bigger way the power of the angel and the angel's intention, in their field of intention, of what they broadcast and what they manifest. And when they enter outside of the material realm, what they continue to manifest, and the instantaneous manifestation of that vision. And so what I imparted was that a little bit of background is that, yes, and you can call it a spirit or a soul or any language that the ancients used, but I will call it an angel because that is the most similar to understanding what these things are from a Western perspective. For a soul is an angel that enters into the physical realm of free will, and the angel is usually, it's a broad term, but it's usually an intelligence that never entered into the free will dimension, and so therefore their love is not as potent. Their love is pure, but it's not as potent. Because where they come from, it's so obvious. There's only love. And so they can't draw on the resonance of being like all source and having gone into a portal, a tier of complete free will, and then actualized and manifesting in the highest resonances of all source energy. Free unconditional love and unconditional merciful healing. And that's the difference between a soul and an angel right there. So understand about the afterlife is these legends that may have been helpful for a period of time in evolution in order to get people to behave themselves, but are completely obsolete and do a lot of damage now. God is not a masochist. I'll say it again. God is not a masochist. All source is all benevolent. The only ones who are masochists are the angels, who are splinters of God, that choose to manifest their oppression and rage and forgetfulness of who they are, their lack of grace. Those are the masochists, and they do self-mutilization and self-torture. Those individuals that never graduated and actualized within their lifetime to portals of unconditional love and unconditional merciful healing within the free will paradigm, then when they enter into the next dimension, they have a lot of judgments. And the judgments that they had about the world around them, they get redirected to judgments about themselves, because if you're judging the world around you, then you're resonating judgment. And when you're not around the world around you, then the judgment just gets broadcast internally in your own frequency. And so because of their ignorance, they resonate that oppression and that judgment, and they feel unworthy, and they feel they don't deserve it, so they begin to create dimensions and worlds to help them justify their own existence until they feel that they've beaten themselves up enough to hear the music that's been playing the whole time and feel that they can join in that music and that higher resonance without shame and fear. But it's obsolete, it's completely unnecessary. For if an individual manifests unconditional love and merciful healing on this realm, then they've already obtained the coordinates of the higher central sun, the central telepathic portal of all source energy. And when the angel goes to the other side, the angel doesn't have to feel worthy. And they're welcome everywhere. There's no shame. And the whole construct that this game that we call material living is equivalent in any way that God needs us. All Source does not need anyone. All Source chooses to give. And what All Source wants to give is intimacy in its highest degrees of true love. We ask to come here in order to have free will so that we can actualize the frequencies of the true essence of All Source, so that way we can be intimate, because intimacy and shame don't go together. To the degree that you have shame is the degree you can't be intimate. So there is no intimacy in shame. So we want to actualize it so we can look Source in the eye and say, hey, we actualized it. Now, it'd be silly to think that any of this is of any consequence. To say that now it justifies a relationship with All Source. No, it doesn't justify a relationship with All Source. But in doing this, you graduate to the coordinates of unconditional love. So you can enjoy bountifully, for eternity, without shame. And the whole construct is a school in order to get you to a space of where you can manifest in unconditional love and merciful healing. Not because your actions are needed per se. They're not needed. They're only, it's a construct that's created for you in order to graduate in your perception, to feel worthy, to the highest intimacy. And yes, there are many who come here, they already mastered these frequencies, but they come back here because they care about their brothers and sisters. They're all splinters of God. We all want to, we're all family, we're all one. We want to diminish the suffering and help in a great re-embrace, a great reunion. And I hope from this paradigm I can explain that you understand the afterlife, what these individuals are doing to themselves. It's so terrible. It's so terrible that they were unable to master unconditional love and freedom. So that way when they get to a space where their manifestations happen exactly what they're resonating, that they could partake in the intimacy and beauty of the true love without having to feel disgrace and suffer and create these paradigms and obstacles that you have to run in order to earn that grace. It's sad. And so I think it's sacred to set anyone who's ready to hear, to set them straight. So that way they are prepared for an intimate relationship with Source. An intimate relationship with all sparks of Source, all splendors of Source in the world. Without shame, without resentment. Without learned helplessness. I think it's sacred